words, it's very much part of how you learn. So that's where Pet XI actually began, because I put together a product for these children just to help them learn. So it was very much about, same thing, problem solving. It was about barrier breaking. This time it wasn't social mobility, it was about the physical barrier of not having sight, trying to use different things to actually help these children in my class. And there was only a handful of them, but that is pretty much where Pet XI began. So I had no intentions of selling this product. I got no real interest in starting a business. I just loved teaching, I loved solving problems, and that's what I did. People said, oh, it's a really good product, you should try and sell it. We made a flyer, the local authority got really interested, and that is where it all began. So from there, I think the main thing for me, as we began to pioneer new methods, it was just me as a trainer, but then I took on somebody else as a trainer, and we took on quite difficult projects, and it was all about pioneering new methods. And even now, with all the trainers, the 500 people that are working on the Pet XI vision, it's all about, what would you do if you weren't paid for it? I don't want people who don't want to be doing it, who are just doing it for money. It's not what's going to make that impact, and that it's not what's going to change lives, which essentially is what we are doing every single day. We're giving people the confidence to smash through their barriers and really move on in their world. So I want people who can, XI stands for explosive inspiration. I want people who can give that energy, can really, really make things happen for other people, and who put other people before themselves, who are really, really passionate. So the way we actually train is very fast-paced. We'll go into schools, we'll go into businesses, we'll work with homeless, unemployed people, whoever it is, and it's 5 days. We'll work with a very specific outcome in mind. We will have a team of 4 people. We'll break down the role of teacher into 4 component parts. So you've got your lead, who is all about the energy, the exuberance, the momentum and the pace. They've got nothing to do with education. They might have been a red coat, a restaurant manager, a bar manager. All they do is they bring the classroom alive. Then you've got the PGC qualified teacher, then you've got 2 supports. So it's really important that they love what they do. So big part of my job is to make sure that everybody is trained up to this absolute point that they love what they are doing, and that shines out of them. So it's all about pace, it's all about establishing what they need to learn and getting to the point very quickly that they actually understand, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it, I can actually do it. I never thought I had this skill, I never thought I could ever get to this point. So it's all about confidence and momentum to push them through to where they want to get to. Very measurable targets, and if we don't get the results, we don't charge, because I don't want money for what I've not done. I will promise and I will deliver, and that is what we have got a reputation for doing. So all of the people at Pet XI do what they love, and I say to them, there's this really good saying, if you don't like what you're doing, move, you're not a tree. And that is a really crucial thing. You know, if people don't like what they're doing, life is short and precious, so it's really important to do what you really love doing. So I think a big message from me as well is to start with what you've got. There is no perfect point to start a business. It is never going to happen. And for me, when I started the business, like I said, I never intended to start a business, but I did. And when it actually came to I had my first child, I realised that who's going to look after this business, because there was only me, so what was I going to do? So my mum very kindly offered to come in and cover for me while I was in hospital. Now, this was 18 years ago, and she's here today in her pink scarf. You'll see her, there she is, and she's still at Pet XI. So the boy that's there, he's my son, and he's now an apprentice at Pet XI. He did very well in his GCSEs, but he didn't want to stay at school. He wanted to come into the business, which, to be honest, is not surprising, because he's been dragged around since he was about 3 years old with me to everything. So I've seen a couple of babies here today, and I think it's brilliant. It's really, it's how I did it, and it works. You know, it really does. You're really educating them in business. It's fantastic. So I think for me, it was all about start with what you've got. What had I got? I was working in that room down there is my granddad's spare room in his house. That was my office. So I was working in my granddad's spare room. I'd got a baby and I'd got my mum, and that was pretty much Pet XI for quite a few years. So Jake there with my mum, that's when he was 18, she'd been there for 18 years, and he presented her with a bouquet. And I think that sense of family has been a crucial part of how I have built the business, because there's this really good saying that I apply not just to my family but also to the business as a whole, and it's that the family is just a group of imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other. And that is how I run the business. So we have lots of ups and downs with trainers, with different members of staff, but we fix them. We work through them and we fix them, and that is a crucial thing, because you're never going to find the perfect employee. You're never going to get to that. Well, obviously, you know, my mum has been perfect for me all the way through. She's been my biggest fan. But generally, as you extend that, you're not going to find that. So you've got to really work hard to bring people in and make them part of the family, the business family. I carried on teaching for the next 5 years, so it was very much part of an ongoing process, getting into the business and actually building the business up. So how did we get from a single product in my granddad's spare room to currently what we've got, which is 80 products, and we work from